And we're back! Welcome to Fetch Quest. My name is Joshua, and in this video, I want to go over the top 3 classes in Tactics Ogre Reborn, in my opinion. So let's get right into it. Thank you for being here. I'll do my best to keep this video spoiler-free, at least in terms of plot, but you may see some units, some characters on my team that you don't have yet. So just keep that in mind. I really do hope that you can still fully enjoy the experience of playing through it for yourself. I only recently beat the game, and I went through the Law route. I know there's Neutral and Chaos as well. I don't have Denim's unique class. I don't want to give away what that is, but I'd never unlocked it. I'll probably go through and play a different route to have a different outcome so that I can see what that class is like. But keep that in mind, Denim's unique class is not in this video. So I do want to talk to y'all about my top 3 favorite classes, but honorable mention does go to dragons. Long story short, these tanky units really helped me in the fight against the final boss, who absolutely hits like a truck. They have their passive skill Dragon Scales, which reduces the damage taken, but the kicker is all that damage gets reflected back to the attacker. So I brought in 3 or 4, and after a grueling battle, was finally able to beat the final boss. So I don't want to give anything away there, but Dragon Scale and just the dragon's tankiness, really good units to have, but not included in my top 3. That award goes to the Rune Fencer, or the Valkyrie. Now, I have to admit, I sort of took this class for granted in the beginning. I didn't use them that much for the majority of my first playthrough, and it wasn't until the end of the game / my new game plus kind of playthrough, if you want to call it that. But I honestly have 2 Rune Fencers now, one of them being Denim, and the other one being Jonin here. I absolutely love the way his character sprite is. Dragoon is one of my favorite classes, and his in particular is unique in that it's red, whereas the standard Dragoon is more gold. But Jonin is my Rune Fencer, Lightning Elemental because of that Giga Tempest skill that you get with spears. The number one thing about this class is their versatility. Stat-wise, they're kind of average. They have no really particular stat that shines above the rest, but you can use a multitude of weapon types in addition to being able to cast missile magic and healing spells, to include Boon of Swiftness, which you'll see in my list of best classes just how much RT, your recovery time, plays a factor in my decision for top 3, because in this game, fast characters with really low RT, really are game changers, especially in battles that are really drawn out. It takes a lot of turns to complete. You'll notice that your slower, clunkier units, knights, things like that, their turns won't come around as fast as your more speedy units. But to me, it's their ability to cast Boon of Swiftness, which really turns the tide of the battlefield. You have 2 or 3 characters that are quickened, it makes a big difference. The Rune Fencer's ability to use Instill magic, as well as their ability to use indirect summon magic like Wendigo or Sylphide, adds to their damage output. But that's not all. You've probably come to find that MP is a precious commodity. Having large amounts of it could mean the difference between victory and defeat, right? High MP means healing in a pinch, dealing heavy magic damage to the enemy, or unleashing finishing moves for a devastating effect. Well, Rune Fencers have access to 3 amazing MP management skills with Meditate, Insight, and Conserve MP. The star here really is Conserve MP. You can have 0 MP, but once this skill procs, you can cast any of your magic at no cost. Being able to cast Heal 3 or Summon magic on 1 turn, and still have plenty of MP for a killing blow from a finishing move on your next turn is incredible. And if you took the time to cast Boon of Swiftness on your Rune Fencer, they're just plowing through the battlefield, wreaking havoc on the enemy so quickly, or, healing up your poor units that are getting nuked by the enemy mages. Either way, consider having a Rune Fencer on your team and play around with their build. They're a lot of fun. The class taking the number 2 spot in my book is the Necromancer. There is a story character you can recruit who's a Necromancer, but I haven't done that yet. Instead, in Chapter 3 of the Law route, kind of near the end in Chapter 3, you'll have a battle in the Almorca Passageway, and a Necromancer appears as an enemy unit, not the target, which is key, meaning you can recruit them and add them to your team. They're human, you just use the basic recruit human skill, and there you go, you can have a necromancer added to your squad. The reason I love this class so much, apart from just looking so incredible, is their high intelligence stat. I mean, look at that. My guy's got 271? What? And their affinity for dark magic. There's just something eerie and spooky and cool about that. I made sure to equip mine with the missile spell Word of Pain, as well as the indirect spell Meteor Strike. I play around with the different debuffs like Charm. You can also put on Sleep or Paralyze. Poison is really good as well. And your success rate for those spells are going to be pretty high because of your high intelligence stat. And the last spell that I always go into battle with, but definitely not the least, is Paradigm Shift. Paradigm Shift is amazing. You can target up to 5 of your own units and cause their turn to come up instantly. I know that the standard mages can also use this spell, but for me it's just the fact that it's the dark magic and it plays into the whole vibe that necromancers give off. But those are the spells. Their skills also set them apart from other magic users. Their recruiting skill, Master Undead, allows you to bring phantoms to your team, the phantom units that look like the little ghosts, as well as the undead skeleton units. Those are both phantoms that you can recruit using the necromancer. Oftentimes they have equipment or spells that are more advanced than what you can currently buy in the shop. So for me, rather than killing them and just really hoping that they drop the loot that I want, like that magic spell, I can recruit them to my team and just take their equipment and their spells off of them. Now, if you are one to use undead units on your team, you'll realize when they get incapacitated or stilled, you don't revive them with a blessing stone like you do with your other units. Instead, a necromancer has a skill called Animate Dead. For 50 MP, it's essentially Resurrect, allowing you to revive your stilled units. And conversely, they have this skill called Consecrate Dead, which prevents stilled undead units from being revived. So this is another great thing that makes necromancers so amazing. If you don't use undead units on your team, but you're on a map that has 4 or 5 or 6 undead units, you can use Consecrate Dead, and it prevents them from being revived. You cast it on the particular stilled unit. And of course, in addition to Engulf and Meditate, they have Condemn. Condemn prohibits resurrection on the battlefield. I haven't found this one particularly useful, personally. Usually the enemy does not use Blessing Stones or Resurrect to revive their units, so because it remains in effect for the entire battlefield, it also affects your own units. So if any of your guys go down and get incapacitated, you're unable to revive them if Condemn is active on the battlefield. Please leave me some comments below if you found a situation where Condemn is super useful. I haven't myself. So if you're lucky enough to come across a necromancer and recruit them, get them on your team, consider adding one. They look cool, they're powerful as heck, they have access to really strong magic and really strong skills as well that can help you in your journey. This brings us to my top class in Tactics Ogre Reborn, the Knight Commander. Again, possible spoiler if you don't know this character exists in this game, but without giving anything away in the plot, go ahead and continue watching if you'd like to hear about why I believe the Knight Commander is deserving of the #1 spot for best class in the game. Asterisk until I fiddle around with Denham's Lord class, because I'm pretty sure that one's going to be very amazing. Quick disclaimer, there are a few steps you're going to need to follow in order to recruit Ozma. First, you must have recruited Hobarim in Chapter 3, meaning when you're in the Law Path and you have the battle at the Archaeopolis of Rhyme, there's a battle with him and Ozma. You have to keep him alive. Then, once you get to Chapter 4, what you're going to want to do is go to the Warren Report and read A Rift in the Dark Nights. Then you'll advance through Chapter 4. You'll come to a battle against Sherry at Hagia Banhamuba. Then, after that, you can come to Crisaro for an optional battle. Keep in mind, you have to deploy Hobarim, and this match is hard. Now, it's important you don't kill Ozma. You have to kill the target, Volak. It took a bit, but basically, if you follow all those steps, you are able to recruit Ozma. And in my opinion, it is well worth it. I mentioned it before, but RT, your recovery time, plays such a big role in this game. And even her with 2 one-handed swords, really good gear, her RT is 86, which means at the start of every battle, she pretty much is the first one on my team that gets to go. My White Knight here has 102, 100. Vice as a ranger has 96. Canopus even has 95. And what makes the Knight Commander so good is think of them as a more powerful rune fencer with the ability to dual wield and attack with both weapons. So you can see on her stats, she's got high strength, high vitality, high dexterity. I mean, agility and avoidance aren't low by any means, but she's got a 214 intelligence and a 204 resistance. She can last on the front lines with any other. She has access to direct and indirect magic spells. I have her as Ice Element, so she's got Ice Blast and Avalanche, and she can heal. This character, again, like the Rune Fencer, so versatile, but more powerful. And you couple this with her plethora of skills, I'll tell you what, she is an absolute unit. There's so many to go through. Mostly offensively, if I'm going to whack someone with a sword, I have her with 2 one-handed weapons, and she has the ability double attack. It's great. If I'm right next to someone, boom, boom, high damage. Another skill the Knight Commander has, I added this to Ozma and never took it off. It's called Ivory Tower. You know how Swordmasters have Mind's Eye, and you can evade 2 melee attacks until the next turn? With Ivory Tower, you can evade 3 physical attacks until the next turn. So you can 100% put her on that front line. Ivory Tower procs more often than not, and she just can't get hit. Mine's equipped with swords, but you can definitely equip her with whips. She has a unique whip finisher called Demon Rose, but again, mine has double swords. You can boost her HP, you can boost her MP. She can follow up attacks with her pincer. Being a knight, she also has access to Rampart Aura. You have Gordian Key, so if you're fighting against golems and they proc their Gordian Lock, you can remove it with 100% success rate. You can dispel a shadow that's been released onto the field. You have access to a skill called First Aid, which removes stop from any friendly units within 2 tiles. Being that Ozma's going to be front and center, usually, I know she can cast magic, but usually I'll have her front and center. Intimidate can remove a skill condition that the enemy unit had procced. Maybe they had Mighty Impact or Tremendous Shot, things like that, and it can remove it. If you absolutely wanted to make Ozma a defensive unit, you can stack Ivory Tower with Intercession. It acts the same way, but essentially it negates magical attacks. If you had both of these procced on your unit, she's invincible. She's not going to get hit. The other thing, y'all, if it ended there, she would already be super good. But she has access to the unique Dragoon skills, which basically means you don't really need to have a Dragoon on your team, which is why I changed Jonin into a Rune Fencer. But she has access to the Slayer skills. If you're going into a match where there's a dragon, put this on. If you're going into a match where there's beasts, griffins, and the like, put on Beast Slayer. The versatility with Ozma is incredible. She can do so much. She's powerful. And while it takes a little bit of work to get her added to your team, you absolutely will not regret it. Make sure you have a Knight Commander on your team. You don't get him until Chapter 4, but it's well worth it. And of course, you have the added bonus once you complete the game to do the World Tarot. Go back. You can replay missions that you've already done. Or what I'm currently doing, you restart from Chapter 1 and start going through the other paths. For me, it would be Neutral and Chaos. So there you have it, the top 3 classes in Tactics Ogre Reborn, in my opinion. I hope I provided a good enough explanation as to why, and I hope you enjoyed the video. But I appreciate you all so very much. If you did enjoy the video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And hey, if you like the Fetch Quests channel, please consider subscribing. That would mean a lot to me, and you would just help encourage me to make more videos, and we can help the Tactics Ogre community grow in their knowledge and fun of the game. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to go do some fetch quests of your own, because sometimes the rewards are worth it. Bye, y'all.